Now I'd like to introduce our next session, the Global Coaches Forum. This is a panel of FMCA grads. They're here to share their experiences. The session is going to be moderated by our co-founder and Chief Wellness Officer, Elise Wagner.
Thank you, Sandy, and welcome everyone. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing 4 Functional Medicine Coaching Academy graduates who are coaching in different professional settings. So thank you for joining us today. Maria Paula Goncalves has a double master's in food science and human nutrition and a PhD in food science. Currently, she works as a nutritionist and as a functional medicine health coach. She founded Reconnection by Maria Paula Goncalves, a clinic that promotes nourishment for physical, mental, and emotional health in Wokingham, United Kingdom. She also works as a health coach for the National Health Services, NHS. Kea Perowit. Kea Perowit is the Chief Content Officer for Functional Medicine physician Dr. Mark Hyman and the Chief Strategy Officer of BIA Health. She loves to combine her 2 passions, film making and wellness, to spread the word that food is medicine. Clarissa Cusin is a certified 500-hour yoga and meditation teacher. She received her health coaching education from the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy and the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. She graduated with her Doctor of Naturopathy at Trinity School of Natural Health. And at Carolina Total Wellness, Clarissa provides patients with effective solution-driven resources that are simple to practice consistently and that support sustainable health. Jason Tate. Jason is an award-winning wellness expert and a 15-year veteran in secondary education with a BS in biology, and is a July 2017 graduate of the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. Jason has hundreds of hours of training and certificates in the fields of nutrition, education, mind-body medicine, and yoga. Jason teaches full-time at a public high school where he has created and pioneered multiple nutrition and wellness courses, created a holistic pre-med functional medicine-based wellness academy, as well as being the host of an international radio show called Tate Talks, where he shares functional medicine and mind-body techniques with the world. So to get us started with this very first question, I'll start with Maria first. Can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to become a functional medicine coach?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me here to this event. I'm very, very proud to represent, together with Clarissa, Jason, and Kea, our functional medicine health coach colleagues as a graduate student. It was a turning point on my career. As a food scientist working for a Chilean university, I was organizing an event in Santiago, Chile in 2016 in collaboration with the Food Agriculture Organization, when I realized the statistics of obesity, chronic disease, and depression among Chilean children and teenagers were horrifying. I felt very sad, and I listened to an internal call to collaborate in this world more directly, working with people and their families, and evidencing the importance of nutrition. Then I decided to make a career transition to be a functional nutritionist, and I realized how important it would be to combine science and the human element of a health coach. When I first saw the FMCA program, I was sure it was what I needed. In 2017, I did the FMCA program and started a master's in human nutrition. The 2 perfectly complemented each other, and the combination made me into the professional I am today.
Thank you, Maria. We're honored to have you as a graduate. Jason, what brought you to choose to become a coach?
I have to say that I love how this question feels like how did you meet your spouse? Because it is, it's a love story. And I really do feel that way. In the fall of 2015, I started the HANDS Academy at my high school, Health and Nutritional Sciences Academy, with the intention of, and I had been teaching nutrition for years to teenagers already, with the intention of making sure that these pre-med students go on with some knowledge of nutrition. And I attended several doctors' lectures, and there's some names that I'm going to throw out because they are very important to me. I attended a lecture with Dr. Tara Dahl and Dr. Tom O'Brien, and a few others who came to Palm Springs area. And it was Dr. Dahl and Dr. Geraldine Brosfield who encouraged me to attend the annual international conference in San Diego in July of 2016, or no, the spring of 2016, where I feel like I met my people. I was awestruck by the energy and the passion of the healers in this place. As I walked around, I went to session after session. I was just soaking up information. Love of learning is my number one character strength, by the way. And so I was just soaking it up. And it answered a question for me. What I was kind of intuitively doing with my health academy was already happening. It was happening in the health careers, and it had a name, and it was called functional medicine. And this is where I feel like I fell in love with functional medicine. And after meeting actually briefly with Dr. Mark Hyman, I spent some time with Dr. Jim Gordon from the Centers for Mind-Body Medicine at that conference. I actually met a student from the FMCA beta class, Gabrielle Grandel, and she brought me over to the FMCA table and said, "This is Sandy Scheinbaum." And I fell in love with the program, with what you guys stand for, with what you represent. And so at that time, I began the program in July of 2016. And I chose to do this not to become a health coach, even though I do some health coaching, but I did this to be able to take a deep dive into functional medicine and incorporate these principles, practices, and modalities of functional medicine into my 4-year high school curriculum, where I teach hundreds of students to prepare them for future careers in healthcare, already introduced to functional medicine. And Dr. Chin Ran, Hero versus Guide, love this. This is what I do with my students. I teach them to be guides, even though many of them will be, some of them will become physicians. This guide mentality, I love that, by the way. In addition to teaching functional medicine principles to 250 teenagers a year, I've kind of accepted the role as their health coach for all of them, so that I can educate and inspire them to avoid all forms of preventable chronic diseases during their lifetime. And so that's my little love story of the FMCA.
Yeah, thank you. And I love that you call it a love story, because so many of us, I think, come to, or I've heard, have come to FMCA and have found their people.
Yes.
And it just has a resonance. So thank you. Thank you for finding us and being here. Kea, how about you? Why did you choose to become a functional medicine health coach?
Well, first, Elise and Sandy, thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored to be here. So I kind of got into health coaching. I started health coaching without even knowing that I was health coaching. When it was 2009, I graduated from college and I started to work with the functional medicine doctor at the time. And he was putting together a program for his patients and for his larger community. And I was responsible for making sure they got their supplements, making sure they got their protein powder, making sure they understood the elimination diet. And we quickly realized that not only did they need somebody to help them locate their packages, locate their supplements, but they also needed somebody to walk them through the program and to listen to them and talk to them and guide them. And I loved being that for them. I loved doing that. So I fell into a coach role with them. And that kind of evolved into content creation. And then in 2015, I joined Mark Hyman's team and full-time as a content creator, first doing social media and then kind of stepping into researching for books, helping to write books, blogs, videos, docuseries, and everything that I get to do today. And I learned about FMCA through Dr. Hyman, and I thought I have to go through this program because I was so honored to get to spend time with functional medicine doctors and learn about the functional medicine way and the matrix and these 7 underlying systems of treating chronic disease. But I never went through any sort of a formal program to understand it. So I thought the FMCA would be my opportunity to not only understand functional medicine on a deeper level, but also really fine-tune my coaching skills. So I went through the program also in 2016. I think we were the second group to go through it and graduated in 2017. And it was a fantastic experience. I learned so much and I got to meet some really great people and build some really great relationships. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to point out, I want to thank you for all of you really for going out there and getting the word out there and spreading the word. And I know that you're doing that through the work that you do. So thank you. And Clarissa, how about you? What brought you to choosing to become a health coach?
Hey, Elise. Hey, Sandy. So good to see you both and to be on this panel with all you beautiful people. Thank you for having me. It's funny. I always kind of step back at this question because I'm that person, right? Where I did not find health coaching. I really found like it found me. I initially started with health coaching way back in 2009 at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and I didn't go there to become a coach. I went there to learn more about things that I was passionate about, food, and in an industry that I had been in for years. And I wanted to create a prepared meal, healthy delivery service. And I thought, this will be just great. It'll give me street cred. I'll meet some great people. And these people look inspired and happy. And so I commuted from North Carolina to New York. This is when IIN was still live on the weekends. And I was really committed to bringing this product into the world. And when I got there, I was like, I just felt like, Clarissa, have you been asleep this whole time? Like, I was so laser focused on what I wanted to do that this whole coaching thing went right over my head. And I fell in love. I was like, this is amazing. The way people are connecting with each other. We would do, role playing, and he would bring experts in and we would get to role play with them. And I just thought, this is it. And so I left there kind of lonely because I felt like there had to be more. And I didn't quite know where I was going to get it. So I started coaching right away. I started working with people and it just kept growing and it just felt right. And then I saw FMCA and I thought, this is it. I've been waiting for these people. And Sandy is so generous with our organization, Warrior Wellness Solutions, and so welcoming. And I just knew I had to do FMCA. And this has been the piece that has really brought full spectrum, everything that I love and everything that's ever meant anything to me together in a package so that I can share that with the world and with patients at the clinic that I work in and with our nation's wounded heroes and their families through our nonprofit organization, Warrior Wellness Solutions. So like FMCA is so much more than a school. I really believe like you are my family, and the foundation of what we learn and what we share through and at FMCA is just, it's hard to put into words. So I'm extremely grateful to have the caliber of training that I received at FMCA, but also the type of people that has brought into my organization, into the medical clinic I work with, into now people that are my friends and my family. It's just overwhelming. It's really awesome.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being here. And I don't know if you need words because I think we can feel the energy and from everyone. So thank you. And going back to Maria, if you could share what prepared you the most for being a coach?
I would say that was this integrative aspect of the course that fascinated me when the first time I saw it. This is the 3 pillars: nutrition, positive psychology, and coaching techniques that made me feel confident and with a base to help clients toward a healthier lifestyle. Especially in my case, that was coming from a research environment, lab and lectures. And I was with much more with the expert approach. Then this coach approach made me transit very well from the university background to the clinical background. And it was amazing, this process. And I would say that learning two essential elements made all the difference in this course. Active listening and welcoming. That are two very, very important tools, I would say, abilities that we develop to coach someone else.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And I wanted to really quickly go back to something that Clarissa had said about that this is her family. And oftentimes Sandy and I will say this all the time, that this is truly a family, and everyone part of that is part of our community, and that is here, is part of our family. So again, yes, thank you.
And I would like to add, sorry, that
No,
I had an amazing, amazing tutor, Marnas Malik, and an incredible group. And we are in touch until now, the group, and we support each other. And this course promotes this kind of environment. So it is so important for our career to have this support. I'm very, very, very grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, Maria. Jason, how about you? What prepared you the most for being a coach?
I would say that answer really kind of has a few prongs to it. I'll first say that everyone has their own story, right? You have your own health journey that you're on. My health journey was evolving at the time. I had been teaching nutrition, like I mentioned, at the high school for several years. I'd gone through my own nutrition evolution, if you will, to a plant-strong diet, varied forms of exercise and movement. And I was really gaining respect and affinity for mindfulness practices and the power of healing through mind-body medicine techniques. I was also passionately motivated by the tragic loss of my mother a year before I started the FMCA program, which was what motivated me to build a health academy around nutrition so that I could teach pre-med students the power of food as medicine. And so, those things, drawing on the resources of strength around you, and sometimes loss and failure in your life, you can gain so much success from this. I believe all of us can draw strength and fuel our passions really from what happens in our lives. These tragedies can turn into successes. And so losing my mother really prepared me in many ways to work hard to complete the FMCA. It's all about your why. And my why was very, very strong and still is very strong. And so those are the things, that's where I drew my energy and my strength. My own health journey, what I saw was needed, working with teenagers, and I would teach them as freshmen and then teach them as seniors, and they're bigger. And it broke my heart, because I love these kids. They're my kids. And what can I do to help them and to guide them and to teach them things that they're going to be able to take with them the rest of their lives, teach their kids, their family, and so on. And so that's what prepared me for being a coach and diving into functional medicine and FMCA.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. And so many people's stories that I hear and that are shared, they come from a space of a long journey to health or, trying to get there. And so you're absolutely right. Oftentimes it happens where there is a motivating factor and a very strong why and a journey that helps to move you forward. So thank you. Kea, how about you? What prepared you the most for being a coach?
Yeah, so I kind of want to flip this question a little bit, if that's okay.
Go for it. Yeah.
So for me, I feel like the experience that I got at FMCA and my experience coaching has really informed the work that I do now. Through my coaching experience, I'm able to listen to people, to meet them where they are, and really just build scalable programs. And so I kind of feel like my experience with coaching has really informed the work that I do today. And I just want to encourage anybody who's listening to this, you can think outside of the box. Coaching can take on so many different forms. It can be one-on-one coaching, it can be group coaching, it can be teaming up with a practitioner and helping them build programs if they don't have the resources or the time. And so I'm really into playing into your character strengths, which we kind of talked about. And if you've gone through FMCA, you know what I'm talking about. And so for me, I knew I had these skills as a filmmaker and a writer, and I also had this deep passion for health and wellness. And I wanted to marry the two. I wanted to bridge the two. And in 2009, there was no Instagram, there was no media platform. So I didn't know how this was going to happen, but I knew in my heart that eventually we would get there. And then flash forward to now, you know, it's just exploded what we can do with content. So if you're out there and you have these two different passions, if you have this passion for health and wellness and coaching, but you have this other passion and you want to bring them together, just know that that is definitely possible. I believe you can create it, or someone's going to create it soon, because this field is expanding so quickly. It's exploding. And I think that health coaching is going to be such a huge part of healthcare, and we're going to need all forms of health coaches. So I know I didn't answer the question really, but I just want anybody who's out there listening to know that so much is possible in this space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what I love about what you said, and we have so many people who are coming to the coaching space or FMCA who are multi-passionate, who have, you know, huge backgrounds with very diverse backgrounds. And what you represent, Kea, and really what everyone represents, is you guys get to come together and pull in all these pieces and really, you know, give your gifts to the world. So it's a very special thing that you all are doing. So thank you. Thank you. And Clarissa, how about you? What prepared you the most for being a coach?
So this is a great question, because 3 years ago, I would have answered differently. 5 years ago, I would have answered differently. But today, sitting in the seat that I'm in, I would say practice, right? Yeah. Like just practice, practice, practice. And, you know, built into that practice are continuing education hours in different fields that have to do with optimizing our overall health or lifestyle, right? Networking with people who have the same passion and drive to help people become the best versions of themselves based on what their dreams are. Mm-hmm. I would say it's the support of a community like FMCA. It's the support of my medical director who looked at me, right, and said, you don't need any more certifications. Like, you're amazing. You're good. You're doing it. Our patients are thriving. Like, stop. Because I think that many of us who are drawn to this type of work also, we want to show up as the best version of ourselves for other people. So it drives us to keep doing more and learning more. And it fuels us. And sometimes we can tamper down that flame a little bit and go with what we have and really keep harnessing what we have and watching it unfold and learning from working with others, right? What we need to maybe work a little bit more on, or what maybe we really got. And so I think that has been really important for me, being able to step back and see, okay, I really have this piece. Really, it's got a strong, strong foundation. Mm-hmm. This piece that someone might be asking me for is not as strong. And so I need to nurture that a little bit more. And I think it's ever evolving, because I think health and wellness is ever evolving. I think our mindset is always changing and evolving based on our circumstances and our environment. And so I'm sure my answer will be different in 2 years from now. But
yeah. And we'll have you back again to see where you're at, right? Absolutely. Well, I think you're spot on, and from what has already been said this morning, is that we're continuing. This entire field is just growing and evolving. It looks different than it, last week it looked different, right? We're just constantly evolving and changing. So thank you. And I'm actually going to stay with you for 1 second and ask you, what do you think makes health coaching valuable?
Oh. That's a huge question, Elise. That has to be like its own summit.
We can unpack a little bit.
I think what makes health coaching valuable is that a patient, a client, the person in front of you has the opportunity to think, right, and be shown, right, and guided to know that where they start is probably not where they're going to end up. And that where they end up is probably going to be way better, way bigger, way more valuable than they ever could have imagined on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really powerful. I've seen patients, clients totally transform their health from just, someone mentioned it earlier, just actively listening
Mm-hmm.
and then sharing back what I heard, and them realizing, oh my gosh, I didn't even hear that from myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then that gives them a new doorway to approach their life, their health, whatever it is that they're envisioning, or what they may have never even thought to envision.
Mm-hmm.
That's power. That's like, it's like what I say about medicine. That's potent medicine right there.
Absolutely.
Right? To give people the power back to know that we can all walk right on this same path,
Mm-hmm.
and we can think that we see what's ahead, but it's in the doing, right? And it's in the healing, and it's in doing the work that it transformed right before our eyes. And we never, like, the picture's so different, and we love it even more than the one we came up with. And I think that's super important to always remember. Also, like, when I'm going in to work with someone,
Mm-hmm.
I might see on paper many things that I know are important to be addressed, but I also have to remember that something's going to come out that is not on that paper, right? That's under those layers, that's going to be way more important, that needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want to underscore just the importance of what you said, and how the coach really comes in and creates this safe space for the active listening, the summarizing, all of these amazing skills that you are all equipped with to create this space where the client or the patient, depending on what, where you work, can step into and really own their health. It's monumental. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kaya, how about you? What do you think makes coaching valuable?
I think the coach is the person who can facilitate lasting change. Mm-hmm. And in the science of behavior change, there's where you are, where you want to be. And we so often talk about just those 2 points, and we don't talk about all the teeny tiny little steps that happen between point A and point B. And those are the most important parts, because health is a constantly evolving journey. And it's those little tiny kind of being in the weeds of it and what you do every single day that matters. And the coach is the person who kind of takes your hand and walks through the weeds with you, where the doctor might not have the time to do that, or, there's this whole team approach. I think that the coach is going to be there with you in the weeds and see you through that lasting change. So I think it's such a valuable career to have, and you can really you can change somebody's life by being a coach. It's really phenomenal what can happen.
I totally, 1,000,000% agree. And I love the visual that you have, people see where they want to be and where they are. And it's this, it's not always a linear line. It's this rocky road sometimes. And I love the fact that you said that a coach will stand with you and walk beside you along the way and support you, encourage you, educate, cheerlead you on. So yeah, thank you. And Jason, back to you. What do you think makes health coaching valuable?
I'll actually add to that. I'll say it's invaluable because, being an educator and working with pre-med students who have aspirations of going on to become physicians and whatever, whenever I ask them the questions, why do you want to do this? They could write a page, they could write 10 pages, it doesn't matter. The 2 words that go together throughout the context of this is help people. And we heard this in the very beginning with the physicians, and I believe it was Dr. Cheng Ran who mentioned 46% burnout. Doctors are desperate to help their patients in very limited time. And because of the nature of the system, of the healing and healthcare system or sick care system that we have in this country, health coaches provide the opportunity to do what doctors always want to do, is to heal and help people and truly heal people. Mm-hmm. And the health coaching staff, this team, humans are communal, collaborative species. we had to be in order to survive, in order to thrive and evolve and get to where we are today. And so we need to learn from our past. We need to learn the fact that we came from a past of communal collaborative species. We need to work together in pods and families and units and teams. And a health coaching aspect of that in this healing community is an integral part of that healing aspect and truly healing the world that is in dire need right now.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Absolutely. So thank you. And Maria.
I'm sorry, I was dropped by the system and was good.
That is okay. I'm glad you're back.
Yes.
What do you think? What do you think makes health coaching valuable or invaluable?
I think the ability to support lifestyle changes in a world where it is the main cause of chronic diseases and mental illness. Just to be short like that, but very important.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And so back to Jason. Why do you think we need more coaches in this industry? Because this is a growing industry, as we've just heard from everyone speaking earlier. Why do we need more coaches?
I'll actually fall back to what I was just saying. You know, I mean, when you look at the world and the statistics of sickness and illness, whether it's mental illness, whether it's physical illness, the doctors that we have on staff, there's a shortage, or there just isn't enough. And so we need more coaches in the industry because, again, this has opened up. There's, you know, as they talked about in the beginning, there's this great opportunity. And I do hope that we get the codes to be able to be reimbursable. But even at that point, people want to heal. And so coaches provide that opportunity for doctors to have much more of a greater impact than being in that 10-minute appointment. And so, yeah, we need more coaches.
Absolutely.
So if you're thinking about it, if you're listening, if any of this resonates with you, I can't even begin to tell you how powerful it feels to, you know, guide somebody, right? And be that guide. Instead of the hero, be that guide and watch them improve. It lights a spark in your soul that you can keep lit for a very long time, and you can pass that on to others, and it's truly powerful.
Yeah, I would agree. And I'd also say it's so humbling as well. And coaches need coaches too. So there's so many people to be served. Kaya, how about you? Why do you think we need more coaches?
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off of what Jason was saying, I think we're seeing so much success with this team approach, with this group approach. I hear from, you know, the Cleveland Clinic Center for Functional Medicine all the time and their group programs, and they're seeing so many successful outcomes in their group programs because you get a bunch of people together who are going through similar things. You have coaches there to support them, and that's really creating lasting change. And then I'll just speak from the place of content creation because that's what I do. Content is king. It's exploding. Video is exploding. And I think that there's going to be more room for coaches to step into that space and provide valuable information because people are really starting to care about their health, especially now when we see things like what Dr. Jeffrey Bland is posting about with COVID and outcomes of people who have chronic disease or if they're obese. And people are really kind of waking up to this. So I think that we're going to need more coaches that are working with people one-on-one from home, virtually, going through group programs and creating video content for them. And I'm excited to see where it all goes.
Yeah, very, very exciting. And thank you. Clarissa, how about you?
So, you know, on a very just basic level, it makes so much sense, right? It just makes sense that we have more coaches because if you look at our history in healthcare, if you look at the history, right, of human beings and where we are in our health, something we're doing is not right, right? So if you look at that linearly, okay, something we're doing is not right, and you look at everything that's on the board, this is the missing gap, right? And I won't say in the space that I work in because the people that I work with, right, they want coaches, they use coaches, like it's there, but in the large space of healthcare, there's a gap. And that gap, right, has the name of the health coach written on it, to make all the things that are not being addressed and that are not working in someone's day-to-day life, right, that coach is needed to help guide and teach and inspire and motivate, right, all these things that we do as coaches, and to, sometimes just be there to hold someone's hand, right, just to hold their hand and say, hey, I'm here and I see some things that we could work on, but what do you feel like is missing? Right? A coach is really good at doing that. I haven't seen a lot of other people in the healthcare space be really good at doing that. We're trained to do that. It's like in our blood. It runs through us, right? So we're really good at that. And I also think now more than ever, where we're seeing this gap in services for not only our mental health, but our physical health. There's a lot of stigma still for people to admit, hey, I see a psychiatrist, I see a psychologist, I see a counselor, right? Like my parents' generation, and I come from a family of physicians, like you don't admit that stuff, right? But people will admit, hey, I have a coach, right? Because it's empowering and it feels accessible, and it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. Right. So I also think it opens up another doorway for people to feel just a little bit more comfortable to say, I'm getting help, or I need help, and I have a coach. So.
Absolutely. And yeah, coaches are the secret sauce. They're the glue. They bridge the gap 100%. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Maria, how about you?
I think we need more coaches because we are still very disconnected from ourselves, nature, and others as a society. We need support for changes. Employing a health coach could be the key to preventative medicine, self-care promotion, and in time, reducing general practice appointment, taking the burden off public health care, as I can see in the NHS currently.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And so looking into the future, Kaya, what do you think health coaching will look like 5, 10, 15, 20? You can pick whatever number that you'd like. What specific ideas or ways do you think health coaching will look in the future?
I think, kind of going off of what Clarissa was saying, that coaching now it's kind of sexy. It's like, I have a coach, I have somebody who's helping me biohack my life and up-leveling everything. And I think looking into the future, 10, 20 years from now, I think a lot of people are going to be working with coaches. 9 out of 10 people are going to be working with coaches. I think that people are going to be bringing coaches. At our company, we brought a coach in to work with our team. And I think you're going to see that happen more and more often at bigger companies. They're going to have coaches work with their employees, work on their health goals. And so I see so many different things happening. And I also see this relationship between coaches and practitioners evolving. I came in to work with Dr. Hyman. My only experience at that point was as a coach, pretty much. And that evolved into getting to do so much more with him. And I think that there's going to be a lot of space for that, because coaches have this very special experience of getting that one-on-one relationship with the people that they work with. And then they can bring in whatever other skills that they have to build. In my situation, it's build courses, build docuseries. So I think there's going to be a lot more room for coaches to work with practitioners to build bigger programs. And it's going to be great.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And Jason, how about you? What do you see the future?
I'm going to have to piggyback with Kaya on a lot of that as well. I think it's going to be really sexy to say, hey, I have a coach, I work with a coach, or something to where a company can say, when they're hiring, clients, and when they're hiring employees, we have a health coach that works with our staff to ensure. I mean, that right there is a selling point as well. I'm going to take another spin on it because I do public education. I feel like, and I would love to see more FMCA coaches take the path that I took and be able to train the future generation of healers and work across health academies across the nation. There are thousands of health academies that could benefit from the work that coaches are doing, and even having coaches come in as guest speakers and really just kind of illuminate, this field, this burgeoning field that is so necessary to the healing, to the community healing of this nation, of this world. And then I love Maria's point of connecting with nature, and we're so disconnected with nature. And there's a component there with coaching where you have this realization that you are part of something really special on this planet, not just among people, but among other animals and among nature itself. And I feel like, and I'm kind of getting away from the question a little bit, but I would love to see in 10, 20 years, us having much more respect for our planet, and coaching becoming a part of weaving that fabric together and building those bridges, like has been mentioned many times.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to see that too. So thank you. Thank you. And Clarissa, how about you?
So much of what already has been shared is exactly how I feel. I don't know if I could contribute any more. I think every piece has been hit. But what it just reiterates to me is the scale, coaching is so big, right? Especially health coaching, because everything relates to our health, right? Either a positive or a not positive outcome. And coaches are uniquely equipped to catch whatever ball, right, the client or patient is throwing at them and find a solution that works for them, and then growing it from there. So this is such an exciting time to be in healthcare, to be a coach, and also just to be alive and to see the possibility that's available for our health right now, because I feel like it hasn't always been like this. I've met a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people who have felt the opposite, right? Like there was no hope. Yeah. And I feel like the possibility through health coaching and through sharing health coaching opens that doorway wider and wider for people to have more hope and to see that it's not cookie cutter, right? That it doesn't have to look the same way for one person that it looked for another, but you can still use the same foundation of coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to underscore, it's individualized and personalized, and there's so many opportunities out there. And health coaches, functional medicine health coaches specifically, are really strength finders, not necessarily problem fixers, although they will, they'll find solutions as well and focus on strengths. So one final question for each speaker. We'll start with Maria first. What wisdom can you share with prospective future grads or new coaches about entering into a coaching career or following a similar path to you?
I would say be ready and prepared for a gratifying and beautiful process of looking inside yourself and for starting a self-discovery journey. Each client we coach, every bridge we cross from point A to point B with a client, we realize many things not only about them, but about ourselves through them. This job teaches us how to be human, how to understand, care, and collaborate without judging. To summarize, be prepared for wonderful lessons of humanity. And when we learn these lessons, we are much better human beings.
Beautiful. Thank you, Maria. And Clarissa, how about you?
My energy is just get started. Go for it. Get started. You've got nothing to lose. Like, even if you went and you got trained as a health coach and you took a totally different turn, somewhere you're going to use that skill set, and it's only going to enrich and enhance whatever you're doing. So, and look at the panelist. This is a beautiful example, right? Coaching just doesn't look one way. So I don't think being trained as a health coach is not valuable for anyone. I mean, it could be just, I know people who do programs just to enrich their own life, or in ways to better engage with their own family, or help their children, or like, so FMCA creates that groundwork as well. You could just use this, because you run a large company and you want to better relate to your staff and you want to create a better environment, right? It's like endless. So my big go today is just hit the ground running, get those boots dirty, and just start and see where you end up, right? Because it's going to look way different than you thought, and it's going to be way better than you could have ever imagined.
I love that. Thank you. Yeah, start before you're ready. Thank you. And Kaya, how about you?
So if anybody's watching this and they want to take a similar path to what I've done, my tips are collaborate. I think teaming up with other coaches or teaming up with practitioners, everybody brings a different skill to the table. And when you get this group together, that's when really beautiful, magical things can happen. So definitely, teamwork makes dream work. The second is to build your skills. So in addition to attending FMCA and getting all of this knowledge in the space of functional medicine, if you want to get into content, I went to film school, but you don't have to go to film school to learn this stuff. You can go to YouTube and learn editing. If you want to do editing, you can learn video production. You can shadow people who are doing things similar to what you want to be doing. And then if you want to get into content, you have to write. I know a lot of people say, I don't like writing, but I think anybody can benefit from just daily practice of writing. There's some great copywriting courses out there, and there's a lot of fantastic books. But I think if you want to build your own practice, or if you want to help somebody else build their platform, writing is essential for everyone. And in order to be a good writer, I think also you got to be a good reader. And luckily, we have so much resources in this space. We have books by Dr. Jeffrey Bland, by Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Deanna Minnick, Dr. Dale Bredesen. I am constantly a lifelong learner, and I love reading all of that because it informs so much of the work I do and it inspires me. And then once you've built up all these skills, just don't be afraid to take risks, because that's when something really beautiful can come. So yeah, those are my tips.
Thank you. And Jason?
I love this question. Thank you. I'll put it in a few different points. One, the world is in desperate need of healers. It's really just that simple. If you have skills to communicate, if you listen compassionately and that comes to you naturally, if you have the ability to inspire others, the world needs you now more than ever. It truly does. To the new graduates or those that are going to be graduating, you've completed an important and very essential component of your journey, but you're just at the beginning. Focus on the first step. Okay, of the staircase. It's 1,000 steps, a million steps, but just focus on that first step and enjoy every single step of the journey. And remember that nothing in life happens to you. Everything in life happens for you. And I've had to remind myself of this so many times, especially during trauma and tragedy. At some point down the road, I'll realize this happened for me. And I just want to say that to everyone. And for those that have the innate ability to educate others, use it. Please take what you've learned from the FMCA and share it with others. There are hundreds of health academies just in California where I teach. There are thousands across the nation. We have this remarkable opportunity to change healthcare in this country through compassionate education and awareness around functional medicine. So thank you all, and I feel so honored to be part of this panel and this team and this family. Thank you.
Thank you all. Back to you, Sandy.
Thank you, Elise, for moderating the panel, and thank you, FMCA graduates, for sharing your inspiring words of wisdom. And as you've heard, they're all making a difference and doing it their unique way.